Hello guys, welcome back to our anime moment. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of Martial Universe Season 9 Part 40 based on novel. So let's start. A beautiful figure stood silently above the surface of the lightning lake. A white dress wrapped around her tall, graceful and exquisite physique, while her alluring curves were faintly discernible. Liu Xiaoxuan was indeed extremely beautiful. In fact, among the ladies that Lin Dong had seen before, she was one of those rare few beauties that could match Ling Qingzhu in terms of appearance. However, the temperament of these two ladies were completely different. Ling Qingzhu was cold, detached and proud, and she was indifferent when interacting with others. However, after getting to know her better, one would be able to sense the gentleness concealed beneath her ice-cold persona. As for Liu Xiaoxuan, although her expression was gentle and she even had a holy and purely aura that involuntarily drew others, within the depths of her eyes was a coldness that truly kept others 1,000 miles away. Lin Dong's forehead faintly wrinkled as he stared at Liu Xiaoxuan, who had just appeared above the lightning lake. He had never imagined that the latter would actually appear here. Furthermore, based on her prior move, it was evident that she was similarly after the Thunderbolt core. Miss Liu, those who come first are served first. Isn't it rude to sneakily attack others from the shadows? Lin Dong shot a glance at the nearby Thunderbolt core and said in an indifferent manner. While he spoke, Lin Dong's eyes also swept across the area behind Liu Xiaoxuan. There were 10 over individuals there and they seemed to be experts from mysterious Sky Hall. However, it seemed that there were fewer of them than when they had just entered the cave dwelling. Thinking about it, they should have split up to search for treasures in other places. Brother Lin Dong exaggerates. Sending an faint yet alluring smile towards Lin Dong, Liu Xiaoxuan replied, in the beginning, this cave dwelling has no owner. If we were to allocate the treasures according to a first-come first-served basis, won't this trip become a race to see who is the fastest? Hearing her words, Lin Dong raised his eyebrows. This lady did indeed have a way with words. With a single statement, she made it hard for even him to rebut. After all, in such a place, treasures simply belong to the person with the biggest fist. What Miss Liu says makes sense. In that case, I won't be courteous anymore. However, Lin Dong was also an extraordinarily decisive person. Sending a grin towards Liu Xiaoxuan, he took a step forth as he reached for the Thunderbolt core again. Brat, how dare you! A fierce roar suddenly rang out from behind Liu Xiaoxuan as 4 males radiating with strong auras and dressed in silver armor appeared in a flash. Their eyes were furiously wide open and spears appeared in their hands. In the next instant, they shot forward, surrounding Lin Dong at lightning speed. Swish! However, just as their figures had shot forward, Mu Lingshan's little figure also appeared in a flash. Grabbing the life-death coffin cover horizontally, she viciously swung it. A black wave of light swept out, powerfully swatting towards the 4 sharp thrusting spears. Clang! Metallic sounds resounded as crazy gales swept forth, causing ripples to form on the surface of the lightning lake. As for the 4 males dressed in silver armor, they were directly sent flying with shock on their faces. Never did they imagine that this small and cute girl with 2 ponytails would actually possess such frightening strength. While Mu Lingshan stopped the 4 individuals, Lin Dong grabbed the Thunderbolt core, lightning extended from it, causing his palm to feel slightly numb. However, just as he grabbed onto the Thunderbolt core, a whiff of fragrance fluttered by. Lin Dong raised his head, only to see Liu Xiaoxuan already rushing over. With a flick of 2 of her slender fingers, an extremely swift and fierce white light condensed on her fingertips. In the next instant, it shattered space apart as it pierced towards Lin Dong's chest explosively at lightning speed. When Lin Dong saw Liu Xiaoxuan's attack, green light immediately sparkled around his body as he hurriedly retreated a number of steps to evade the attack. In the next moment, a chilling glow erupted from his eyes. With a clench of his hand, 8 green dragon-like tattoos erupted from his hands, before he sent a fist rumbling out. Roar! When Lin Dong sent his fist rumbling out, a low and deep dragon roar instantly resounded out. Green light shot out from his hand, transforming into a green glowing dragon. Bringing along astonishing energy fluctuations, it violently rumbled towards Liu Xiangshuan. When Lin Dong took action, he had no intention on going easy on her just because of her looks. Furthermore, if he were to show any mercy when dealing with Liu Xiangshuan, it might only lead to even more trouble, since this lady was not an easy individual to deal with. Due to Lin Dong's fist, a 10-meter wide gouge had formed on the lightning lake below, with lightning sparkling within, causing peals of thunders to continuously ring out. Seeing such a vicious fist coming from Lin Dong, Liu Xiangshuan's eyes flashed. With a gentle grasp of her jade-like hand, an object sparkling with white light appeared within. With a push of her palm, the white light shot forward, before transforming into a jade umbrella that seemed to be made from white jade. As the jade umbrella opened, one could see jade bells lining its sides. Instantly, clear and refreshing bell sounds rang out, as clumps of peculiar white light started revolving in the surface of the umbrella, appearing extremely bizarre. Bang! The glowing green dragon fist slammed heavily against the white jade umbrella, causing the white lights on its surface to sparkle. In the next moment, with slight amazement, Lin Dong saw that his glowing green dragon fist had abruptly turned around and rushed back towards him. The white jade umbrella in Liu Xiangshuan's hand actually had the peculiar effect of reflecting attacks. Extending his palm out, Lin Dong grabbed the glowing green dragon fist that had rebounded back. After shattering it with his palm, he stared at the elegant and beautiful lady with a white jade umbrella, with a grave expression on his face. Worthy of being the saint of the mysterious Sky Hall. You actually possess such a formidable pure yuan treasure. Lin Dong stared closely at the white jade umbrella in Liu Xiangshuan's hand. From the fluctuations coming from it, he could confirm that it was definitely a pure yuan treasure. Furthermore, it was at least of middle grade. This umbrella's name is the Disillusionary Holy Spirit Umbrella. It's able to reflect some attacks back. I know that brothers Lin Dong's fleshly body and energy are tyrannical. However, facing against my treasure, I'm afraid that it'll decrease some of your might. Liu Xiangshuan explained with a beaming smile. Lin Dong stared at Liu Xiangshuan. Smiling, he raised the thunderbolt core in his hand and said, "Your treasure is powerful indeed. However, this thing has landed in my hands." Upon saying those words, devouring power suddenly erupted from his palm. In the next instant, the sparkling thunderbolt core immediately transformed into boundless and pure lightning power, before flooding into his body. Kai Kai! Just as Lin Dong was absorbing the energy from the thunderbolt core, lightning erupted around his body, with all the hairs around his body all standing straight up. At this moment, Lin Dong did not care about Liu Xiangshuan, as the devouring power from within his body erupted rapidly, completely absorbing all of the boundless lightning power gushing into his body. If an ordinary individual wanted to absorb the energy from this thunderbolt ball, he would need to find a safe and peaceful place to slowly refine it. However, since he had the devouring ancestral symbol, Lin Dong clearly did not need to go through such troubles. Utilizing the devouring power, he was able to quickly transform all the energy present in his body into something he could use. Creak creak. As the boundless lightning power within his body was gradually being devoured, Lin Dong could faintly discern that his muscles and cells seemed to be producing sounds of excitement. They were greedily absorbing those energies that were able to strengthen them. Hum. Just as Lin Dong's body was getting pervaded by the lightning power, he furiously sensed an extremely pure lightning power suddenly flowing along his meridians towards his forehead. At Lin Dong's forehead was the location of the martial art known as the Desolated Demon Eye that he had learnt from the Tao sect's Desolated Hall. Due to the increase of his strength, this martial art was no longer powerful enough to satisfy his needs. Therefore, it was gradually forgotten. However, at this moment, the Desolated Demon Eye within his forehead started to receive the corrosion by those pure lightning power. Promptly, sparkles of lightning started to appear on the tightly shut dull grey demonic eye on Lin Dong's forehead. Lin Dong was able to feel that under the corrosion of those pure lightning power, a peculiar transformation seemed to be happening to his Desolated Demon Eye. Lightning sparkled on the demonic eye. However, the tightly shut demonic eye did not open its eye. From the looks of it, the energy from a single thunderbolt core was not powerful enough to upgrade his Desolated Demon Eye. Upon sensing the situation, Lindong gave a dejected sigh in his heart, before he slowly withdrew the lightning that surrounded his body. By relying on the strength of the devouring ancestral symbol, he had completely absorbed the energy of the Thunderbolt core in a short amount of time. You actually absorbed the Thunderbolt core. Upon seeing this spectacle, a trace of shock appeared of that beautiful face of Liu Xiangshuan. She had originally planned to coldly watch from aside as Lindong attempted such a reckless move. However, she had never expected that Lindong was actually able to completely absorb the Thunderbolt core within a few minutes. Ha ha. It looks like I'm the fated person for this treasure. Lindong replied in a mocking tone while sending a smile towards her. Right now, the Thunderbolt core was already absorbed by him. If Liu Xiangshuan wanted it, the only thing she could do was to devour him whole. A trace of fury flashed within Liu Xiangshuan's beautiful eyes. However, she had an extraordinary temperament as she was able to stabilize her emotions rapidly. Speaking out in an indifferent tone, she replied, "Looks like Brother Lindong is skilled indeed. To be able to absorb the Thunderbolt core with such a rapid speed." Declining to comment, Lindong was too lazy to stay here any longer. With a wave of his hand, he signaled to Mu Lingshan to leave. Whoosh! However, just as he was prepared to retreat, ripples formed as a vortex suddenly surfaced originally calm lightning lake. In the next moment, wrapped in lightning, another Thunderbolt core slowly rose up in front of the shocked gazes of Lindong and Liu Xiangshuan. Lindong's palm froze in mid-air, as he looked with some astonishment at the scene before him. In the next instant, his gaze abruptly turned scorching. However, this time he did not look towards the Thunderbolt core, but towards the depths of the lightning lake. It seems like the real treasure was below the lake instead. As the vortex formed within the lightning lake, a silver ball of light slowly rose from within, before quietly floating in front of the absent-minded gazes of Lindong and Liu Xiangshuan. Yet another Thunderbolt core. Behind Liu Xiangshuan, those experts from the mysterious Sky Hall were also in slight shock as they stared at the scene before them. Obviously, never did they imagine that another Thunderbolt core would surface from the lake. After being in a dazed state for only a short moment, they abruptly glared at Lindong and Mu Lingshan. Before this, Lindong had already obtained a Thunderbolt core. Hence, this newly surfaced one definitely had to land in the hands of their mysterious Sky Hall. However, while they were glaring and warning Lindong, Liu Xiangshuan in front of them suddenly started to smile sweetly. With a gentle wave of her jade-like hand, her beautiful eyes stared at Lindong before saying a soft voice, "Brother Lindong, looks like this lightning lake isn't simple at all. What level of intellect did this girl possess?" The scene that had just occurred before her was obviously something out of the ordinary. Thunderbolt cores were rather rare. However, as of now, this lightning lake had suddenly sprouted two of them. What did this mean? Liu Xiangshuan's eyes, which were now slightly radiating with brilliance, slowly turned towards the vast and endless lightning lake. From the looks of this, there should be quite a big secret hidden below this lightning lake. Lindong's gaze had also slowly withdrawn from the Thunderbolt core. Proceeding to smile, he replied, "Looks like we are in luck. That Thunderbolt core should be mine then, all right?" Liu Xiangshuan said with a faint smile, before waving her jade-like hand. A suction erupted, pulling the Thunderbolt core into her hand. Upon seeing this, Lindong's eyes faintly flashed, but he did not take any action. Liu Xiangshuan was no pushover, and it would be quite troublesome if he were to fight with her. Moreover, at the moment, he was more concerned about finding out what was below the lightning lake that was actually able to cause Thunderbolt cores to continuously surface. Liu Xiangshuan started to play with the Thunderbolt core within her jade-like hand, before smiling sweetly towards Lindong. However, just as she was able to say something, her black eyebrows knitted together all of a sudden. Raising her head, she looked towards the sky not far away, where a large quantity of whooshing noises could suddenly be heard ringing out. "Ha ha! Xiangshuan, you are quite lucky. You've actually managed to obtain the Thunderbolt core upon arriving here." A laughter rang out not far away, before a group of people rapidly shot over and hovered above the lightning lakes. Their leader was precisely Pang Hao, of the 9 Serene Gate. Very quickly, quite a few whooshing noises rang out from the location behind Pang Hao and his group. Those figures were the experts that had rushed over from various locations. Looking at the experts that have rushed over, Lin Dong involuntarily frowned, while helplessness filled his heart. This lightning lake was simply too prominent. Once those experts that had entered this region sensed the lightning lake, they rush over immediately. The second those experts had rushed over, their eyes turned scorching as they stared at the thunderbolt caught within Liu Xiangshuan's jade-like hand. In the next instant, thick feelings of greed began to erupt from within their eyes. However, despite their greed, they did not dare to take any action towards Liu Xiangshuan. After all, there were powerful experts from mysterious Sky Hall standing behind her, and they were not for show. With her eyebrows slightly knitted, Liu Xiangshuan looked towards Pang Hao, who was wearing a smile on his face, before looking at the large group of experts. In the next instant, her beautiful eyes shifted towards Lin Dong. At this moment, the latter's face didn't have a single fluctuation present and she was completely unable to read his thoughts. Since Lin Dong did not say anything, Liu Xiangshuan chose to remain silent. Under the gaze of so many experts, could it be that she would take the initiative to mention the bizarre occurrence at the bottom of the lightning lake? As both Lin Dong and Liu Xiangyuan both maintained their silence through tacit understanding, a ripple, then a vortex slowly formed on the surface of the lightning lake once again. Sigh? Upon seeing this, a helpless sigh rang out within the hearts of Lin Dong and Liu Xiangshuan. It seems like this lightning lake was intent on throwing the world into chaos. The fluctuations surfacing from the lightning lake caused the enormous number of experts that have rushed here to gawk, before casting their gazes over. In the next moment, they looked in shock as a ball of light that was sparkling with lightning rose from within the vortex. Thunderbolt core. The instant that ball of light appeared, the eyes of all the experts instantly became akin to slits, before capillaries started crawling up within. In the next instant, boundless yuan power seemingly erupted simultaneously. Whooshing sounds rang out as figures shot out at the same time, rushing forwards in an attempt to snatch that thunderbolt core. Dozens of figures bristling with boundless yuan power violently collided against each other, causing astonishing fluctuations to radiate out while close-quarters fighting that reeked of blood instantly erupted. This close-quarters fight was rather miserable, as people continuously shot out while spurting blood from their mouths, hair disheveled, and extremely unwilling expressions on their faces. While being ousted, their gazes were akin to the gamblers that had lost to the final winner. Lin Dong stared indifferently at the culling happening before him. It didn't go on for long, ending approximately 10 minutes after it started. An expert that had stepped into perfect profound life stage, who was now covered in blood, grabbed the thunderbolt core, before laughing heartily at the sky. Although this perfect profound life stage expert was quite powerful, he had suffered rather serious injuries during this struggle. Hence, even his aura had started to feel sluggish. From this, one could tell how vicious and fearsome the fight was. Plop! Just as this expert that had obtained the thunderbolt core and was laughing heartily at the sky, ripples suddenly surfaced from the thunder sea surrounding him. At the next instant, two vortices appeared simultaneously, as two thunderbolt cores appearing dazzlingly from within. His laughter came to a spontaneous end, as the expert of perfect profound life stage stared dumbfoundedly at the two thunderbolt cores that had popped up. For a moment, he was simply unable to regain his senses. After all, he did not know why the thunderbolt core, which was rarely seen, would actually appear in like cabbages here, popping up one by one. Bang! As the two thunderbolt cores appeared, it immediately caused an uproar to emerge in the surroundings of the lightning lake, as everyone looked at each other while observing this bizarre scene before them. For a moment, no one actually took the initiative to snatch those two thunderbolt cores. Evidently, they were slightly confused about what was going on. Ha ha! Looks like there is a secret at the bottom of this lake. Pang Hao's eyes sparkled as he observed the spectacle before him, before speaking out with deep intent as he shot a look towards Lin Dong and Liu Xiangshuan. Huff! Lin Dong gently exhaled a breath of air, before shooting a look at Liu Xiangshuan. By chance, the latter's beautiful eyes had also looked over. As their gazes intersected, they gave a helpless laugh. Looks like their dreams of devouring it alone had gone up into smoke. Lingshan, let's go! A low roar rang out seemingly instantly from Lin Dong's mouth. At that split second, green light instantly encased his body, before he rushed into the lightning lake with not the slightest bit of hesitation. At the exact same time when Lin Dong had rushed into the lightning lake, white light sparkled around Liu Xiaoxuan's body. With a move of her alluring body, she also rushed into the lightning lake. Plop plop. Following right after them, Mu Lingshan as well as the experts from the mysterious Sky Hall had also moved without the slightest bit of hesitation. Plopping sounds rang out as all of them all jumped into the lightning lake. Ha ha. Interesting. Let's go. With a smile, Pang Hao looked at the spectacle unfolding before him. With a wave of his hand, he immediately dashed into the lightning lake. The situation before him was very clear-cut. The real treasure should be located at the bottom of the lightning lake. The real treasure is at the bottom of the lake. Only at this moment did all the surrounding experts regain their senses before thick greedy intent erupted from their eyes. In the next moment, plopping sounds rang out as all of them rushed into the lake. The lightning lake, which was originally peaceful, seemingly turned lively in an instant. With regards to this situation, Lin Dong was too lazy to be bothered. Since the secret of the lightning lake had already been exposed, the only thing left to do was to be the first one to find out what was at the bottom of this lightning lake, and obtaining it as quickly as possible. Green light encased Lin Dong's body. As he rushed into the lightning lake, he increased his speed to the maximum, heading straight for the bottom of the lake. He truly wanted to see exactly what mysterious item was present at the bottom of the lake that was able to produce endless thunderbolt cores. Lin Dong's figure darted quickly within the lightning lake just like a fish. The water within the lightning lake wasn't that of normal lake water, but a silver lightning liquid instead. Countless rays of lightning sparkled within, as berserk fluctuations were faintly discernible while they radiated out. A green light had completely encased Lin Dong's body. As strands of lightning came into contact with the green light, crackling sounds erupted out. At a place like this, if one was to reckless barge around within paying attention to one's strength, one might be instantly reduced into ashes by this lightning liquid. Even someone like Lin Dong had to maintain a sliver of vigilance at all times. Mu Lingshan followed closely behind Lin Dong. Further behind was the large group of experts who have charged to the lightning lake from various places. Obviously, right now, everyone knew that the bottom of the lightning lake was hiding a secret. Lin Dong shot a glance towards his back. The momentum generated by them caused him to gently wrinkle his forehead. However, he proceeded to helplessly shake his head. Since the situation had evolved to this stage, there was nothing he could do to prevent it from happening. In that case, everything depends on one's own strength. Retracting his gaze, Lin Dong cast his eyes towards the bottom of the lightning lake. As he gradually went deeper and deeper, he was beginning to realize how vast and expansive it really was. Furthermore, the shape of the bottom of the lightning lake was extremely peculiar, with erected strange giant silver rocks scattered all across. As they came into contact with each other, they seemed to form countless cliffs. At first glance, one could not see the bottom. As Lin Dong followed the direction of those cliffs and shot forwards, his sharp and acute eyes continuously scanned every direction. This continued on for quite a while, before Lin Dong's mind suddenly shook as he shot his gaze immediately below him. At that spot, rather intense energy fluctuations had suddenly radiated out once again. At the edges of Lin Dong's gaze, a silver vortex took form once again below him. Right smack in the middle of the vortex was a clump of lightning glow, which slowly floated up. Within that clump of light was precisely another thunderbolt core. Kai? Upon seeing this, Lin Dong immediately shot forward. However, in the next instant, he froze up all of a sudden, before thick astonishment appeared on his face as he looked below. Present, there was an extremely gigantic lightning cliff gorge with a bottomless pit. It looked as though it was connected to the bottom of the earth. The two sides of the gorge were lined with countless stone caves. Taking advantage of the reflections of the lightning liquid, Lin Dong was able to faintly discernible that there seemed to be some figures sitting within them. However, not the slightest bit of life was present within those figures. Shock filled Lin Dong's eyes as he looked towards at the lightning cliff gorge before him. From the looks of it, this should be the origin of the never-ending thunderbolt cores, right? Lin Dong's figure slowly approached the lightning cliff gorge. Before floating, he chose to float before a stretch of stone caves. At this distance, he was able to see that there were indeed figures sitting within those stone caves. However, at the moment, those figures were withered and looked like skeletons. Lightning pervaded their entire bodies, and Lin Dong was able to feel pure lightning power being pressured to the extreme within their bodies. Obviously, after sitting here for so many years, every inch of flesh remaining on these corpses was saturated with lightning power. Coupled with the immense pressure of the water, this had turned these corpses into mummies completely formed from lightning power. Lin Dong stared at those mummies that had seemingly transformed into lightning for a while, before turning his gaze towards the chest of those mummies. At that spot, he could faintly discern a sliver of an extremely faint and sinister black aura twisting around. However, those sinister black aura were completely sealed and suppressed by those pure lightning power. That is the reason why the black energy were unable to control these bodies and transform into those mindless killing corpses that Lin Dong had encountered previously. These people purposefully chose to sit beneath the lightning lake and rely on the power of the lightning power here to suppress the Yimo Chi that had invaded their bodies, solely to prevent themselves from transforming into those mindless killing corpses after they died. Lin Dong's eyes sparkled, and very quickly he was able to faintly understand the situation. In the next moment, his gaze was filled with some complicated feelings. These experts were undeniably worthy of respect. In order to prevent themselves from turning into monsters after being invaded by the Yimo Chi, they were willing to sitting at the bottom of this lightning lake, and transform their bodies into lightning. Boom! A faint muffled clap of thunder suddenly rang out from a stone cave not far away. In the next instant, Lin Dong saw that the silver corpse present within had suddenly erupted with a bright and resplendent lightning glow. As those rays of lightning glow pierced berserkly out of his body, it appeared akin to a miniature sun when seen from afar. Bang! As the rays of lightning grew more and more intense, all of a sudden, the silver corpse exploded abruptly. The instant the corpse exploded, a silver clump of light started to rise up. Present within the clump of light was a silver heart, slowly jumping around. That was a thunderbolt core. As Lin Dong took in the spectacle before him, he deeply exhaled. Finally, he understood why there were tons of thunderbolt cores popping out from the bottom of this lightning lake. It's no wonder those thunderbolt cores were formed from the irrigation of lightning power into the bodies of those experts that had sat here for thousands of years. The moment the thunderbolt core appeared, the Yimo Chi within their bodies were completely dispelled by the extremely rich and powerful lightning power formed at that very instant. At last, they've completed their final wish before their deaths, Lin Dong muttered. So this is how the thunderbolt cores appeared. A voice filled with shock rang out from a place behind him. Panning his head around, Lin Dong saw that Liu Xiangshuan, Pang Hao as well as the mass of experts from various places have already reached this place, and were started emotionally at the lightning cliff gorge present before them. Obviously, the previous scene whereby the silver corpse exploded while a thunderbolt core rose up, were all captured within their eyes. Ha ha! There's so many silver corpses here. If they were to all transform into thunderbolt cores, how terrifying would that be? We've truly entered a treasure trove. Who would have expected that these thunderbolt cores, which are extremely rare in the outside world, would actually be present in such quantities here? Precisely. If we're able to obtain a few of them, this trip would be more than worth it. The flames burning within the eyes of the experts from various places had already reached their epitome as they stared scorchingly at the massive stone caves present within the vast and expansive lightning cliff gorge. At the moment, unconcealable greed and drool were present on their faces. Waves of noises rang out from the mouths of the various experts. In the next moment, some people were quickly unable to contain the greed present in their hearts. Shooting forwards explosively, they rushed towards the stone caves present within the lightning cliff gorge. Bang bang bang. The moment they rushed forward, the resulting fluctuations formed was akin to the last straw that breaks the camel's back. Quite a few silver corpses within the many stone caves exploded at this instant, causing thunderbolt cores, sparkling with alluring lightning glow to float up. The instant any thunderbolt core appeared, there would be some experts who would fight over it. For a moment, this lightning cliff gorge turned extremely chaotic and fiery. Wrinkling his forehead, Lin Dong looked towards the mass of experts struggling about. Extending his hand and gesturing towards Mu Lingshan beside him, he spoke out. Let's take action and grab some thunderbolt cores too. These things are quite beneficial for your cultivation. Mu Lingshan was of a member of the Sea Demon clan, and had a tyrannical physical body. If she was able to obtain some thunderbolt cores, she might be able to upgrade her already tyrannical body to the next level. Furthermore, as of now, Lin Dong also needed those things. He still wanted to find out how strong the desolated demon eye within his forehead would be after completely strengthening it. Okay. Mu Lingshan nodded her head with extreme excitement. From the looks of it, she was extremely fond of matters like treasure hunting. The two of them shot out seemingly at the same time, before rushing towards the vast and expansive lightning cliff gorge. As the two of them took action, they retrieved the thunderbolt cores floating up rapidly one after another. With Lin Dong and Mu Lingshan taking action, Pang Hao, Liu Xiangshuan and their large group of people were also unable to hold themselves back. In the next instant, whooshing sounds rang out as all of them rushed into the lightning cliff gorge, before using various methods and techniques to snatch and obtain those thunderbolt cores. As the fighting continued, there would naturally be some bloody conflicts. In a short span of time under 10 minutes, some individuals were killed in those struggles. Fresh blood spread out within the lightning liquid, causing the entire lightning cliff gorge to faintly reek of blood. However, while everyone was busy fighting over those thunderbolt cores, no one realized that a strange phenomenon was happening. As if they were being stimulated by the bloody scent, wisps of black energy stealthily rose from some of those silver corpses that appeared extremely sturdy and strong present within those stone caves at the depths of the lightning cliff. This was especially so at the deepest part of the lightning cliff gorge. Present there was an extremely vast and expansive cave. At the moment, a silver figure approximately a few meters tall sat within it, while strange and sinister black demonic marks slowly climbed up his body. Furthermore, his eyes, which seemed to have been shut tightly for thousands of years, had started to faintly tremble, akin to an evil demon about to awaken. This video will end here.